Hello? Hello, hello. Can people hear me? Hello. Yeah? Cool, nice. Make me your student. uh, sure, yeah, you can. We have classes, you can join. Hello, hello. So we are a bit early, so I know that a lot of people wanted the Sailor Moon Samus one, but then that one lost out, unfortunately. I mean, I also kind of would have loved to do the Sailor Moon Samus one, but the cat one won out, so we are gonna do the cat one. But I thought that while we're waiting for the early birds, you know, I could do a little, just like a Samus one, just for funsies. Replicated by style? No. I'm like, do I have a style? What's my style? Just gonna. So we're a bit early, and I kind of already started doing a little bit of it, of like a Samus drug, so I was just like, oh, maybe I'll just clean it up a little bit, kind of thing. I'm at a wedding. So many weddings. Well, weddings are great. It's good to be at a wedding, celebrating new stage of life. Too many styles. Don't no same. I totally get it. Opening the creativity mind. Tips on being a great artist. Learn the fundamentals. No easy way around it, I guess. Sailor Samus. This Samus is sailing. Wait, maybe I'll use the darker color. Yeah, so we'll start in like a few minutes, kind of thing. But you guys can chill and watch me draw or do a cleanup-ish of my quick sketch that I did beforehand. Kind of a thing. Honestly, I I did this drawing like way back, or not way back, but like a year ago for our summer camp program for a character design, and I was like, oh, it'd be really cool if I combined Samus and Sailor Moon. Honestly, I don't know why. I think it was just like, oh yeah, they're both blonde. They both have like, I don't know, somewhat similar color schemes. So I was like, yeah, let's just give it a shot, kind of a thing. But Samus is like way more. Was it Samus is way more? I don't know. She's a little bit more serious, a bit more stoic, and Sailor Moon is like the complete opposite in personality. So I don't know. Maybe don't know if they like completely match in terms of like style or personality, but I thought it would be like a cool mashup, and everything. So that's why she's kind of frowning, I guess, because I was like, oh yeah, Samus is a bit more serious. When do you unlock composts? What? I post my speed face. If I would have posted my art in general. Composts. I don't know what that means. I mean, if you want to post, just post. I guess. might have to come back. Yeah, for sure. Come back. It's gonna be recorded. Honestly, just do edgy Sailor Moon. I guess that is exactly what it is. I put basically Sailor Moon's character design with like the hairstyle and everything, but with the attitude of Samus, basically. And but the suit is it's a mishmash of Sailor Moon and Samus, because you got the whole school uniform outfit thing going on. The earring, I decided, could go with what Sailor Moon already has going for it, which is like a star. But then the outfit, I was like, I don't really know. Like, I feel like gotta put a little bit of Zero Suit into it. So the suit is like cyberpunkish, and then but you gotta keep the iconic. I don't even know what these are, like these buns that Sailor Moon has, and everything. And the cool thing is, like, they both have a very close neck thingy on their neck. I don't know. It's like Sailor Moon has a choker, but Samus has like the suit that like is pretty up close in terms of like the neck part of it. So I guess I combined those two things. And Samus is a lot more muscular, so I gave her some traps and some deltoids, them shoulder muscles. Gotta make her more muscular. Gotta fill out those shoulder pads in the suit, so. Oh, you're just at some random wedding. You know what? It's still good, It's a good moral support for the people getting married. And let me see. Sailor Moon's got that like school uniform thing. I was trying to see if there was like a way to incorporate it, but I don't know. I feel like it looks kind of odd with like the rest of the suit. Like the Zero Suit is basically what I have going for it, and I'm like, it feels like it doesn't really quite match. But I don't know. I feel like in order to make it work, I gotta put in the colors or something, or else it's kind of hard to tell like what's happening. But why is YouTube trying so hard to be instant TikTok? It's all business, I guess. It's gotta make money somehow. It's gotta market itself and everything. So it's gonna be what it's gonna be. To redesign multiple characters. Yeah, don't worry. I also like go through multiple characters over and over and over again. Thank you for teaching us. Oh yeah, no worries. I mean, I hope I can go through how I go about doing character rotations, but yeah. Oh, and if you hear squeaking, it's my chair. I did like a test recording and realized how squeaky the chair is, and I was like, oh shoot. Yeah, you probably can hear it when I'm moving around, shuffling around. You'll probably hear a little bit of the chair squeaking. Okay. Ridley in a tuxedo mask. Oh, that's a good idea. I like that. I was thinking like, if I could combine every character from like Metroid, because in the Metroid Prime series, there's like multiple bounty hunters as well, not just Samus. And I was like, I wonder if you could like assign different bounty hunters to different like Sailor Moon characters. And I was like, I never thought of a tuxedo mask for Ridley, but that's a good idea. I like that one. Okay, so I think I will start like the actual character rotation now. So when will we start? We starting now. Metroid as Luna. Different series, I feel like. Isn't Luna part of Mario? But yeah. Okay, we are going to start, and so as always, just house, is it housekeeping or house cleaning? I already forgot what's the proper term for it. But welcome everyone to our stream. If you don't know who we are Wing Canvas. We are a YouTube channel, obviously, that does a lot of tutorials and walkthroughs on how to approach different drawing tips and try to help the community basically grow in your like artistic skill. But we're not just an online YouTube channel. We are also a virtual art school where we have a lot of online classes, and we have a bunch of different variety when it comes to classes. We teach animation, we teach cartooning, anime, digital art, drawing and painting, a whole bunch of classes. So if any of those seem interesting to you, or if you want to up your drawing skills, feel free to check out our website, as we do have a lot of classes. And throughout the stream, if you enjoy what you see, feel free to give us a like and maybe subscribe, as we do a lot of these streams every week, always Friday to Sunday. So yeah, so if you subscribe, you'll be able to see whenever we're streaming. So yeah, and if you want to support us, we greatly appreciate it. And one way that you can support us is on Patreon. And if you support us on Patreon, you gain a lot of perks as well. So things like members only chat and critiques on Discord. You'll get to see the actual files that we do on stream, and also a lot of behind the scenes stuff when it comes to our YouTube content. You'll also get some members only emotes and badges on YouTube as well as Discord. And if you want to check us out, we're also on social media. So we are on Facebook, Instagram, and Discord. And you can also share your work that you do. So a lot of times some people will follow along with the stream. So if you want to share the character turnaround that you might have worked on while watching the stream, feel free to share it on Discord or Instagram or Facebook. Just be sure to tag us if you do upload it. So yeah, that is all the stuff to get through. And now we are going to do the actual character rotation. So if you guys saw on our community channel post, the character that won out was the cat regal character. And for those who are curious as to like, oh, why were those characters the ones that turned up? It's because the prompt for this stream, or for us, the streamers, or for me specifically, was to find a character that we had done during one of our like summer camps or classes, and to do a character rotation of those characters. So that's why those were the characters. It wasn't like some random prompt or anything. But yeah, you guys voted on the cat character, and that one was done in our animation class. It was a winking project. So I made this cat actually blink and stuff. But for today, it's going to be a character rotation. So I'm going to show you the different steps on how you can do a character rotation. And how basically I approach it. Everybody might have different steps and stages in how they might approach it, but this is how I typically do it. And hopefully I'll be able to get it done in 2 hours by the end of the stream and such. Sometimes I feel like doing streams is like doing a exam and back in school, where it's like you have 2 hours to do a drawing and stuff, and it's like, oh boy. Okay. Yeah, so we are going to get started, and as always, I'll try to keep an eye on chat and everything. So I'll try to answer any questions if there are any. If people are like curious as to how I got to a certain stage, or if they're like confused as to how I knew how to draw something, I'll try my best to answer it on the spot. But sometimes in the moment, my mind just like blanks out. I'm like, oh, how do I know how to do that? So yeah, actually, so I was thinking like maybe I should bring up the prompt. Let me see, where is my image? Just kind of look for the cat. Okay, so this is what we're drawing, or at least this is kind of what we're drawing. It's going to be somewhat based on this character design. The prompt was Regal Cat, but I might tweak it a little bit here and there. So, you know, it might not look exactly like this, but I might change it up as we're designing the character and such. So I'm gonna keep this. I'm actually probably maybe gonna screenshot it so that I can just have it on the side as a reference point for myself. And usually you could do this as well with is that a Sketchpad Pro? It is Sketchbook. It's not the Pro version. This is when they still had it for free. Yeah. I mean, now you have to pay $20 for it, but I like it. It has a clean UI, so I really enjoy it. So for me, before I do a character rotation, I like to sketch out my character first, get a rough idea. Maybe I'll do just a drawing of a face. Maybe I'll do some roughs of the entire body. That way I have an idea as to like, this way I have kind of an idea as to what the character might look like. So I'll do some sketches. I'll do some like ideation. And so this is like the planning process, figuring out what it looks like, because a character rotation is pretty thorough. You're basically figuring out what your character looks like three-dimensionally in all its different angles. So you have to make sure that everything kind of fits and is structurally sound, or else as you rotate it, you'll find like problems and all that kind of stuff. So sketches, ideas are good. Usually I might just draw the face, some like expressions. Oops. And maybe I'll do some like action poses. Because a character rotation model sheet is usually pretty straightforward. The character is either in an A pose, which is the character just standing with the arms kind of down, or sometimes they can be in a T pose, but I feel like a T pose is more for like 3D modeling, not for drawing. I am doing stick figures just because it's like more straightforward, but that's just to say that like a model sheet is usually pretty static. It's very bland. So to get your creativity going and get you motivated, doing it faces and expressions and an action pose can get you more like excited about drawing the character, as well as allows you to kind of explore and figure out who the character is. Explore the character. You know, like, who are they? Who are they? You'll have to excuse my terrible writing. Hello everyone who's joining us. I'm just going to go over what my thought process is as I'm doing like character model sheets and how I rotate characters and everything. So these are kind of the two things to get me started and going, and then once I have them, I'll probably put it to the side like I have with this picture of the cat. I put it to the side so it's like a reference point. I have an idea as to what I'm aiming for and what I'm trying to go for. But okay, bye. Red is black. I hope you come back or you're able to like catch the end of it. But yeah, so this is what I'll do, and then once I have all this down, I will create a grid line. So what's gonna happen is I'm gonna take this pen, and I'm probably just gonna pick a lighter color, maybe like this blue. Let's see. Yeah, that's pretty good. And so what I want to do is create a guideline for my characters. So I'm gonna put it here. Maybe I'm just gonna reorganize my layers. Group layers. Gosh. Okay. Sue Jammin. Hello, Sue. Hey, glad to see you're able to join us. So, I'm just going to create my guidelines, and the guidelines basically help make sure that everything is proportionally consistent. Because when you're doing a 3D model sheet, this is the sheet that all the animators and all the concept artists are relying on, basically. It's to make sure that the drawing of the character looks consistent and that everyone's drawing in the same style, because everybody draws a little bit different. Everybody has some quirks and kind of pen pressure that's just a little bit different from some other person, which adds a bit of personality to their drawings. So a model sheet is to make sure everybody's drawing consistently and they can like go back to it and look at like, oh, if the character is rotating this way, this is what the character would look like, kind of a thing. And that way it doesn't look like a completely different character. So consistency is key for a model sheet. And so that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to create a bottom line and a top line. This is just for me to have an idea as to how tall this character might be, roughly. Obviously, like, as we're figuring this out, it's not going to be... I might have to adjust it and improvise, so, you know. How many angles should you do for a sheet? Usually it's good to do a... Actually, I'll write it down, because these are the angles that I'm going to be doing, and this is also a good... these are good angles to also do. So I'm going to be doing a side view, or profile view, profile, side view. Then we're going to be doing a 3/4, and then we're going to be doing a front. And then if we have time, I'll probably do a back. These are probably your most essential ones. And then if you really want to go in depth, it's good to have a back 3/4. Back 3/4. This way you see every single angle of the character in its most important kind of perspective, kind of thing. It's just better for me. Oh yeah, paper works fine too. You can use paper. I find that like tracing paper is really good. This way you can do any guidelines and roughs on one and then just stick another paper on top and just clean it up on a new sheet of paper, and it still looks good. But I'm going to be doing it digitally just because it's easier to stream and it's just easier to draw. But I also love drawing traditionally too. I do a lot of sketches in my sketchbook. A lot of studies are in my sketchbook. I don't do studies digitally and everything, but yeah. Okay. And I'm probably going to have to shift this around. I probably don't have enough space or anything, but yeah. And in order to save some time, I cheated a little bit and I have already done a very rough approach as to what my characters kind of look like. So I'm just going to put them in the right spot. So I'm going for this very Garfield, Nick Offerman looking type of cat. So I'm just going to resize it. Mind you, though, these were like sketches, so they are really rough. And look at that, they're already kind of in the right spot. So, what a handsome gentleman. Yeah, he is. This is gonna be he's a handsome man. Yeah, very proper. I feel like I might have used the wrong word to describe the type of cat that we're drawing, because I was like, I don't know if regal is the right one. I think I was thinking of the word pompish, like fancy, classy, proper cat. You know, a proper cat is what I was going for, maybe. Yeah. But yeah, in the interest of time, I have already roughly tried to figure out what it might look like, because the only drawing that I ever did for this cat character is the one on that's colored, and it's just the shoulder up. So I didn't really have an idea as to what this character might look like in terms of like the entire figure. So I just went out of my way to roughly get an idea as to what I maybe want this character to look like. So I wanted it to be really big and chunky and just massive, have like a really intimidating intimidating silhouette. So I don't know if you guys watched the shape design stream, but when I was thinking about this one, my shape language is probably on the square side, very broad, very big, and that's kind of the shape language that I'm applying to the entire figure. Very square head, very square body, square overall shape kind of thing. Yeah. So, I think what I'm going to start with first is maybe the front version of it, because that'll help me get a very good idea overall as to what I want. Oh, for humans. Oh, okay. Yeah, so here's the thing with doing a model sheet. What's good practice as well is to break them down um into volumetric shapes. I know that might seem like a big word, but it's when you turn everything into like prisms or cylinders, and then you just move those cylinders and prisms into across to the different angles so that you can reuse them. You're basically creating a mannequin figure that you can repurpose, kind of a thing, and that works for human characters as well. So I think that's what I'm gonna do. A hottie cat. Yeah. I think that's what I'm gonna do. I'm going to, maybe I'll use this blue color again. I'm just gonna break down really quickly, or I'll try to quickly, what the prism-like shapes are for this character. And since it's front-facing, maybe I'll also use a guide. I'll use the symmetry tool. Cheat a little bit. That way I don't have to worry about whether the character is fully symmetrical or anything. What pen are you using? I am using a Wacom Cintiq. And the program I'm using is called Sketchbook. It's like an Autodesk program. The logo is like a pencil. It's like a red pencil. But it used to be free, and then Autodesk decided to charge people money for it. So unfortunately, it's no longer, there's no free version. There is only a paid version. I think it's $20 maybe. So yeah, I love this channel. Oh, thank you. That's awesome. We're so happy you enjoy our channel. So what I'm doing right now, for those who are curious, I am figuring out the structure of my character. So I want to figure out the overall structure of the head, and then I want to figure out roughly the size and structure of the body, because this is going to help guide my drawing as I am moving across to all the different all the different angles and everything. Yeah. And for those who are wondering, like, oh, why am I using, what was I gonna say? Sketchbook. Why do I like using Sketchbook? It's because it's very clean. The UI is like very simple. It's not cluttered like most drawing softwares. But Sketchbook is very limited. I guess that's why it's called Sketchbook. It's because you kind of treat it like a sketchbook. So, yeah. It is unfortunately very limited in what you can do with it. For example, you cannot clip. You can't mask layers on Sketchbook. You can only auto lock transparency, which kind of work. It does what it needs to do. But the good thing about Sketchbook that I love is that everything is allocated to one button, the spacebar. So panning, zooming in, rotating, it's all just the spacebar, and you can assign that to like the button on your pen. So basically, I don't have to use the keyboard. I don't have to do anything. I can just keep my hand drawing very quickly. Yeah. What are you gonna call this pompous cat? I don't know. Does anybody have any name suggestions for this cat? Oh, and if you're like wondering how come I didn't draw the legs or anything, it's because I'm probably not going to see the legs since the coat is so big. There's no real point for me to draw the entire coat, so I'm just going to draw it as like a cylinder, basically. Yeah. The fat... Oh, Edgar. I like Edgar. That's a good one. Little Pony enjoyed the art that Lily made. What? Okay, I'm trying to figure it out now where the arm, like what size and where the arm is gonna be. I'm probably also, I would draw maybe another version where the hand is not going across the stomach. This way I can actually see what the hand looks like and how long the hand would be, but just for this pose I want to do that. Yeah. Fergus. Oh, that's a good name too. Yeah. Yeah, I like that. Those are some good names. Are the odds we think the same? Yeah, Fergus. Senior cuts? What? Interesting suggestion. Okay. Okay, so I like how this is. I think I like the proportions that I've got. It matches the rough drawing that I have, but it feels a bit more clean now. So I'm actually going to go back to the grid lines. Let me see. Yeah. So I'm going to go back to my grid lines, and I'm going to now define where the bottom of the head is, where the body is starting, and roughly where the hands are. So this way I can keep a sense of consistency. And I'm doing this all on a different layer. Yeah. I'm better than anyone else. Oh, I see. Salve Josh? What? Maybe Salvador. What about Salvador? Is that a good name for a cat? I don't know. Does that scream pompous, I am better than everybody? I feel like Salvador, is that an appropriate, is that a good name to use? I don't know. So yeah, I'm gonna mark the bottom of the head, top of the shoulders, where the hands are starting and where they're ending, and I think I might also mark where the elbows are, just because it's kind of it's kind of an important point to keep an eye on. How long would you say it takes you to flesh out a character design? Oh, that's a good question. I mean, that kind of varies depending on what I'm drawing. So if it's a very simple character, maybe a day or two. Like maybe a character like this, I would say for me it's a bit on the simple end. So maybe about a day or two. But it depends on how fleshed out you want to go. Do you want to do like facial expressions? Do you want to do action poses? All that kind of stuff. So it kind of depends on what you're going for. For a more complex character, like let's say a main character, that might take a while because you want to make sure that this character stands out, everything works for it and everything. So that one actually might be a bit trickier to figure out. Yeah, I realized I didn't mark the top of the head, so I'm just gonna mark top of the head. And I chose a lighter color because I don't want it to be too distracting as I'm drawing. So yeah. So now I'm gonna do the same thing. So draw all these big boxes, these main prism shapes, but now on the but now for the 3/4 one. So basically I'm going to do the same thing, but now instead of front facing, I'm going to treat it as if it's a prism. Oops. I'm going to treat it like it's a prism and turn the box 3-dimensionally. Now I'm going to use the rough drawing to give me a rough idea as to where the side of the face might be. But the thing with 3-dimensional drawings is that sometimes you just have to break the rules a little bit to accommodate for what it is that you're drawing. And I'm also going to draw maybe the midline for both of these. Should have maybe drawn it when I had the symmetry tool on, but oh well, it's fine. Burgers. Sir Fluffykins? I thought we wanted like a intimidating name. Good to know. Thank you for answering my question. Yeah. What's your favorite art? Like art style? Like art. What do you mean favorite art? I guess I like illustration type art, but I like the bit more surreal style, I guess. Something that's a little bit not too grounded, but still stylistic. So not like splash art. But yeah, I don't know how. If you've seen surreal art and you know what it is, I guess you'll know what it is. it's not trippy necessarily, but like it's not grounded. So sometimes they break the perspective, sometimes it's like a collage of different characters and everything. What did I walk into? Well, we're doing a character rotation sheet, yeah. Balfamore. Oh, I like that. Balfamore, that sounds intimidating, yeah. What's a good Autodesk tip? You mean for this drawing program? This sketching program that I'm using? Um, I would say find a pen that you like. So maybe I'll just go quickly show you. In Autodesk Sketchbook, they have a bunch of different brushes. And I would say, like any other drawing guide, just play around with them, experiment with it. And if you find a brush that you do like, so for example, I really like this Signature ink copy because it has a texture to it and it has a good line variation. And if anything, you can always adjust the settings for the brushes themselves. And Autodesk has a bunch of different settings that you can adjust with it as well. So it's pretty robust for a free, or well, used to be free program. You can do quite a lot with it. And so, yeah, I would say find a brush and just treat it like you're drawing in a sketchbook. That's why they call it sketchbook, because it's very straightforward. It's very clean. There's nothing really too fancy about it, but that's kind of what I like about it, is that it's very straightforward. I guess some good tips is just to, if you're drawing digitally, like with a tablet, make sure to assign the spacebar to like the one of the buttons on your pen, because the spacebar does everything. So as you can see, if I press spacebar, this thingy pops up. It allows me to zoom in, it allows me to rotate my screen, and it auto locks it for you at like the correct angles. And it also allows me to pan, and it's all just one button. So basically, I don't have to use my other hand to press any shortcuts on the keyboard. Everything is done with that one button, where I feel like that's a unique feature, unlike Photoshop or Clip Studio, where everything is assigned to a certain key. But for Sketchbook, it's all on one button, so it's kind of nice. Using a little tablet. Really? But in reality, he's clumsy and soft? Yeah, maybe. I actually, as I was drawing this, I was thinking of the character from not Princess Mononoke. Howl's Moving Castle. I don't know if people have seen it, but that witch lady that gets really big and she looks like she's melting at some point. That's kind of my inspiration for this character. Kinda. I feel like the body needs to be a bit bigger, actually. I feel like the side profile. So here's the thing with drawing characters, that like sometimes you'll realize three-dimensionally you didn't quite get it, and you need to expand upon it more. So I might make the cat's body a bit wider. I'm giving it a name. Oh yeah, what was the name? Didn't you have a name that was like pretty good? I liked it. Was it Balfamore? Balfamore, maybe. Cat Returns, yeah. That's a good movie. Cat Returns. Okay. So this side view, I actually don't think I'll include this part that sticks out, because it's breaking the prism rule that I guess I gave myself. So I'm just gonna stick to a more square-like shape, just to keep it simple. But the bottom part with this part, I might have to expand it. A little bit. So this is the cool thing, is that like as you're doing the model sheet, you start kind of seeing the character three-dimensionally and what you'll have to adjust for it. So I wanted the character wide, but as I'm rotating it, I'm like, okay, what parts of it don't seem consistent and all that kind of stuff. Oh yeah, Lackadaisy. Yeah, Lackadaisy is pretty good too. Yeah. Witch from the West. Is that? Yeah. Witch from the West. Is that the big witch? The witch that's like kind of creepy. She's like melting in the sun kind of a thing. And then she turns small afterwards. Yeah. Okay. I think this is good. I'm gonna maybe add the hands now. So let's see. For the 3/4 one, I'm gonna follow more of this one over here, so the front version, because the front version, that's the proportions that I'm trying to aim for. The sketch is there to help guide me and remind me of what the cat actually looks like, or what I want the cat to look like, but the structure that I did for the front is the one that I actually want to try following. So that's what I'm gonna do. So the hand, I had it here, and the hand is in front of the body, and the body is quite big actually. So I might have to draw how big the body is front wise, because the body is sticking out a little bit. So you know what, I'm gonna have to indicate that. He's got a big body. And actually I really like the silhouette from the front, so I'm gonna have to maybe change how big this thing is too. Make it even bigger. So he's bigger on the front. He's kind of like Santa Claus in some sense, I guess. So let me see. That means this front version I'll probably have to make even wider. I keep having to change it and adjust it. But that's kind of the thing that happens, is that when you start structurally figuring out what things will look like, you kind of just have to go with it. You know, don't get stuck and be like, oh, well, I drew it one way, I can only draw it this way. It was like, no, you can adjust it, you can change it, because you're essentially drawing 3 of them at the same time kind of thing. Yeah. Lackadaisy. Did anybody watch it? I haven't watched it yet. The Lackadaisy show. I've been meaning to, because I read the comics when it was coming out, but then I kind of stopped watching it, and then heard that they made an animated show, and I was like, whoa, that's crazy, because I like read it in high school, and then now it's an animated show. That's so cool. That's awesome that the creator was able to like make something and then have it turn into a show and everything. That's really cool. What's your favorite food? I'm a very simple guy. I like burgers. I recommend great so far. Is it only 1 episode? I know on their YouTube channel I only see that they have 1 episode. I haven't checked if they've released more. But yeah, my favorite food is burgers. Very, very straightforward, simple guy. My food tastes are, some would say, bland. Okay, that's where the arms are gonna be. When they make I believe I said something like that. Is there a common mistake people make when making these sheets? I think they don't put enough time into this part. So a lot of times I think, especially if you're a beginner and you're not super great at drawing characters, I feel like people tend to just jump right into drawing the character and not focusing on the structure. But that's kind of what the model sheet is for. You know, expression sheets and action pose sheets, that's for figuring out who the character is. But a model sheet is meant to be very structural, because again, like I said in the beginning, it's meant so that everyone who's working on the project has a consistent idea as to what this character's proportions are, consistency in art style and everything. So you want to make sure that the model sheet is as clean and as structurally sound, I guess, as possible. And one good way to check, if you are doing this, I guess traditionally and digitally works, you can treat it like it's an animation, have the character rotate as if it's on a turntable, and see if it flows. Because if your proportions are off and you have it turned around as a turntable, things are going to kind of bounce or shift as it's turning. Like, for example, the head might all of a sudden warp into a different proportion when it changes to a new angle. So if you want to check if it works out, you can actually treat it like it's an animation and put it on a turntable. If you're doing it traditionally, you can always scan it and then overlay them on top of each other. And then if you're doing this digitally, you can just shift them all so that the center line of all the characters are lined up, and then just animate it or flip it, and then see if they turn around properly. Yeah. I had another point that I had for like something that students tend to do a lot, or people who are early at doing model sheets. I kind of forgot what it was though. I had one. If I think about it, if it comes back up, I'll be sure to mention it. Yeah. Okay, so I think this is good. Maybe I'll put the hat in as well now. The hat. The hat, I kind of wanted it to be like a tiny little top hat kind of a thing. So that's what we're going to go for. Oh, and if anyone is using Autodesk Sketchbook, the S key is a shortcut to switch between your last used tool. So if I use my eraser and then I want to go back to my brush, if I press S, it just automatically goes back to it. So there's that. It's kind of neat. And yeah. And I've also turned off a lot of things too. So if you ever want to go back to the default layout, it's under Window and then Default Layout. But by default, Sketchbook has a lot of smaller things that pop up, and I'm just like, no, I want a clean, uncluttered kind of UI and interface, so I just turn it all off basically. Finding the center point of this top hat might be a bit tricky. I'm just gonna guess and say that it's there, but I'm probably off by a bit. And because the top hat, I'm just gonna treat it as it's symmetrical, like it's the same size, like it doesn't warp or change or anything. I'm just gonna keep it roughly the same size across all three angles. Yeah. Oh yeah, that works too. I think I can do that as well, where it's like you flip the pen and it turns into an eraser like automatically. Yeah. I'm too lazy to flip my pen, so I just press S. But that's the shortcut, you know. A clean and simple interface. Yeah, you know, like clean, simple interface does so much. So actually I'm gonna remove this. Not remove it, but I'm just gonna shift it somewhere to another layer, so then I can just focus on the drawings. Okay, so this is what we have, and what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna lower the opacity of the guidelines because I don't want it to stand out too much, and now I'm just gonna start putting some details on top of it. Again, gonna keep it very simple, very straightforward. I don't want it to be too cluttered. I don't want to be too complicated with it just yet, because I want to make sure everything is proper and in its proper place. And then maybe, hopefully, by the last hour, we can do some like cleanup on it and everything. So, yeah. Oh, did someone ask about art styles? Let me see. Yeah, different angles. So when you're drawing a very complex character, especially like, let's say it's a human character with like very detailed outfits, it can be very intimidating. So don't do that for a model sheet just yet. Figure out what the mannequin looks like. Maybe I can show you an example of one that I did. This is like for just personal. I did this for myself. Let's see. Yeah. Okay. So this is a character rotation I did, like, just personal use, and the outfit, the gun, the hand is very complicated, and I was like, there's too much to go through. So in order to make it simpler for myself, I broke it down into its mannequin form first. So I did this first. Figure out like what's the torso look like, where is everything located, and like once I get the prism structure, the anatomy, and all the little bits that basically hold up the character. So like this, if I know what the mannequin looks like, I know what the clothes are gonna be. I know how it's sitting on the body. If I know how thick the arms are, I know how much space I can have the sleeve of the jacket wrap around the body. So the more complicated it is, the more important it is to figure out what the structure and the mannequin underneath the drawing is. But if it's a very simple cartoony character, like this cat character, you could probably get away with just having a very simple prism like this. Because I'm not going for very realistic, so, you know, there's no need to go, like, over the top with it or anything. Yeah. But yeah, when it comes to art style, it's all about just, like, practicing and trying to figure out what it is that you like, figuring out how you like to draw things. So, you know, people like Steven Silver draw in a very curvy like way, a lot of swooping lines, a lot of very basic shapes that end up connecting with one another. That's kind of his style. But then there's other people who draw in very geometric ways, so very sharp, very angular. So if anyone's ever watched Kippo, I don't know how to pronounce it, but that art style is very sharp, right? But that's its own style. So I would say, like, if you're still trying to figure out what your own style is, it's honestly comes down to like what it is that you like. How do you like to draw? What stands out to you? You know, do you like drawing very exaggerated shapes? Do you like more realism? Do you like more structure, or do you like it loose, kind of thing? Yeah. She's very cute. Oh, thank you, Sue. Yeah. that character that I showed, that one took so long for the gun, for the hand holding it, because oh my goodness, yeah, just rotating the hand and figuring out where it should go, that made it tricky. Now you can see that as I'm kind of detailing this now, I'm not using the symmetry tool because, you know, there's no real need for characters to be exactly symmetrical. Having some asymmetry to the character is like a good way to make it feel like it's not too robotic. I'm gonna keep the ears that were there from like the reference that I had, very wispy, almost kind of like a old cat, old wise cat kind of vibe. But yeah, like my kind of inspiration is Nick Offerman. I don't know if anyone's ever watched like Parks and Rec, but he's got that Garfield grumpy kind of vibe. Yeah. 22 a.m. That's like 10. Live in Germany. Oh snap! Wow, that's cool. 10 p.m. Well, thank you for joining us. Even though it's like, I don't know what everybody's sleeping schedule is like, but maybe 10 p.m.'s like early for you. You're probably like, I don't sleep till 12 or something. I don't know. Who broke it? Oh, is that a meme? I don't know what that is. Guy's voice, who broke it? Let's see. Okay. So the thing around him is like this fur, kind of like a parka, like the fur, and then it goes all the way down, kind of a thing. So that's what I'm gonna just go for. Again, I'm just keeping it loose and rough because I'm just trying to figure out the overall shape that's there. Let me see. Maybe I'll turn this off. Let's see. Yeah, I kind of like that. Like how it's coming along. The sleeve, I'm probably also gonna keep it pretty simple, very straightforward, cartoony. And the sleeves, I also wanted it to be furry too, so I'm gonna have it have a bit of a cuff around it. Oh, thank you. Okay, thank you for joining us, Cal. Bye. Okay. Parks and... Oh, is it? You know what? I actually have never seen Parks and Rec. I just know Nick Offerman is from Parks and Rec. So, that's the truth of it. I have not seen Parks and Rec. Although I've heard good things. Good things about it. I've heard that is very good. All right, he has a monocle. Okay, so gotta give our pompous cat a monocle because that's kind of his ordeal. I actually don't know where the drawstring would go. Like, should it have a string for the monocle? I don't know. Okay, and then it's gotta have a big body. So maybe I can have it. Should I have buttons? I don't know. Maybe we'll decide that afterwards. Also, I kind of went with this design because I don't have to draw the hands just yet, and I don't have to draw feet. my shortcut around not having to worry about it. Okay, so I'm gonna go for like the fur going all the way down, and then the bottom of his coat is also gonna be big chunky fur. Oh, and for those who maybe have joined late, this cat is from my animation class. So we do run an animation class here, and this is from like one of the blinking projects where I teach students how to animate a character blinking. And so this cat was a blinking character originally. So this image over here of this cat, it was blinking. Very simple, kind of straightforward animation sequence, but yeah. And so now I took that character and am doing a character rotation for it. So let's see. This is what it looks like so far. I would say this is like he blinks. He does blink, yeah. How can I draw maybe a logo where the pocket should go? Maybe I was thinking about a chest pocket. But how can I draw loose and sketchy and try not to be a perfectionist? That is a good question. I used to be very picky about everything being very clean, but I feel like lately I've adopted a very loose approach, or maybe loose mentality, where it's just like I'm looking at the image overall. So a lot of the times as we're drawing, we're focused on all the different tiny parts of like the head or the hand or the folds. But then the more I'm drawing, the more I'm just kind of like, you know what? Just focus on the character as a whole, overall. And if the textures and everything, when it all comes together, makes the character still look like the character and feel like the character, then that's all I really need. At least that's what I tell myself. Okay, so I'm gonna try to match the same thing for the ear height, at least. I would say that this approach to drawing a character model sheet is kind of like an orthographic, meaning that there's not too much perspective going on. Okay, sure. I'll add the pupils. Okay, pupils there. And then maybe we can give him some like baggy eyes, so it looks even grumpier than he already is. You try timing yourself. Yeah, that's true too. Timing yourself will make you like faster, and like the faster you get, the more you're not too caught up on whether things look perfect, I guess. Like, it'll naturally create a very sketchy look in general. So, I don't know. I don't know if that's what you're suggesting, Sue, but that is something. Okay, I'm gonna try to figure out the spacing for the eyes. This eye. it's a little janky, but it's fine. We'll fix it. We'll fix it in post. So right now I just want to get the overall shape there. I'm just thinking about the silhouette, the overall shape that this character has. So I'm not worrying too much about how perfect it looks. Pun not intended. But yeah. Okay, hat is probably here. Oh, I guess one thing is, like, if you're thinking, okay, how do I... Sure, I get the whole guidelines and everything, but how do I make everything feel three-dimensional? And I would just say that's where practicing perspective comes in. So if you find that you're having trouble drawing something and making it feel three-dimensional consistently, perspective is a big one. Get a good handle on perspective, because that is how you start thinking about things three-dimensionally. You shortcut the hands? Yeah. I was like, oh, you know what would be great about this piece is that I don't have to draw the hands. But, you know, if we have time for a proper kind of model sheet, I would have to draw the hands and show where everything is kind of going. Or like what everything looks like at every angle and whatnot. So even though in this pose I have gone around not having to draw the hands, I would have to like properly draw the hands. Like I would have to show what they look like so that the other animators know what it looks like. I feel like timing is good in terms of, like, it pushes you to commit, you know. So it's there's like different, I guess, mentalities in terms of going about it. Some people like to do timed drawings to improve their drawing speed, just in general. They just want to draw faster. Other people do it so that it pushes them beyond their, like, comfort zone. So if you're like a perfectionist and you find that you care about every single thing, try drawing really quickly. Try drawing with a time limit and commit to that time limit, meaning that once the time limit's done, you don't continue working on it. And what that does is that it makes you commit to the drawings that you do. Because if you have a time limit and you can't go back to it, every line and every decision that you make becomes important. Now, I know that might put a lot of pressure, but I would say, like, just give it a shot. Go for it and see where that takes you. Because once you go for it, I find that, like, that fear slowly goes away. And you know what? You don't have to post it. It's not going anywhere. No one's going to see it. So just do it and see where it gets you, kind of thing. Okay, that 3/4 one was a bit rough, but let's see. The head shape, I feel like, isn't quite there. I feel like it needs to be a bit wider, but we'll fix it. We'll fix it when we clean it up and everything. I'm gonna use a smaller brush and then clean it up. But right now we're just kind of in the rough stage, planning things out, getting a feel for what the cat looks like, and using the structure. Because beforehand we didn't have structure. Beforehand all we had was this. And even though it's like a nice rough drawing, it gets the idea. I can see what I'm going for. It's not consistent and it's not clean. So I used this rough version, the one that we're looking at now, to help me build the structure, which is this. and then after I get the structure, then I do another pass to make it cleaner and so that everything feels more consistent. This way, if I do rotate it, like animate it, hopefully it should all line up and it should like flow with one another. Yeah. Grumpiest cats you've seen. Yeah. You know what? It's the bags, it's that the eyebrows and that mustache. Really helps accentuate the feel of the beard, or like the grumpiness, you know. Okay, I think I want the ears to like tip back a little bit. And oh, the back of the head. You know, I never really gave much thought as to what the back of the head looks like. Should it just be square? Maybe I'll just keep it square, like a square shape. I think a square shape should be good enough. Yeah, because they already got that like fur coat in the back, so I feel like there's no point doing something with the front, or I mean the back of the head. And let's see, and then the fur comes around. Maybe I guess I made it a bit higher now. And let's see, the eye. I should have drawn a guideline for the eye so I know where it is, because I did not do that. Okay, and the fur comes in. Oh, actually, the left side of the fur coat wraps around, so I have to think about three-dimensionally which side would that be on. So we're gonna see a lot more of it. So if it didn't come over to the right side of the body, we probably wouldn't see too much of it, but because it is reaching over a little bit and it's got some thickness, we'll probably see it. Okay, and then the back, I wanted him to be a bit more on like the straighter side so we can emphasize that really big stomach that I want to give him. And then we'll just indicate the folds, indicate the fur on this cuff. Then don't worry if it looks really rough right now, we're gonna tweak it afterwards. And actually, because the hands are going over, you can't actually see it, but I did give him a belt. So he has a bit of a Santa Claus belt. Or something like that. And then he's got a really big belly and everything. So let me see. This might make him a bit off-centered. Not too sure. Yeah. Okay, so I'm just catching up on get old and they look well loved used rags. Oh, thank you. Yeah, thank you. This design is from my animation class. Yeah. It just reminds me of Lackadaisy. Yeah, I love Lackadaisy. I wasn't thinking of Lackadaisy when I was making this, but I do like Lackadaisy. It's good series. Let me see. A lazy day, but you want to wear a fancy hat. I guess, yeah, kinda. Actually, you know what? I'll make this stand up a little bit more. I guess you really feel that like pompous, rich vibe from this on the side view. So I really like how he looks on the side view. So I'm gonna have to try to capture that on the other angles when we do the cleanup. Okay, let's see. Okay, we got all the angles designed, not decided. Okay, so here it is. Let's see. See how that feels. So I guess right now I'm trying to take a look at whether it looks consistent. I want to like check to see if everything, like if it feels like it's the same character, I guess is what I'm trying to get at. Is like, even though the shape, I use the structure and everything, does it match the character that I'm trying to design and draw? So I think I like this and I like this, but the 3/4 one is not quite there. So I'm gonna clean all three of them, but the 3/4 one is probably one that I'm gonna have to tweak the most. I want to say that this year's been good indie projects. Pizza Tower, Monkey Wrench. I've never heard of Monkey Wrench. Lackadaisy, yeah. Monkey Wrench, I don't think I've heard of those, yeah. Okay. But how is everybody else doing? Everybody having a good week? I don't know if we got people who are in like school, but any students excited for the summer? Summer's coming to an end. Time to just chill and whatnot. I look like he's ready for sleep after a long day. He's been reading a 20-year-old dictionary. Oh my goodness. 20-year-old dictionary. Who? Oh my goodness. Has anyone actually read a dictionary before? I feel like that might be a bit much. Dramatization with thin custom arts. Dramatization. Never heard of that. Okay. I feel like though the downside is this brush is a bit too thick. So I'm trying to find a thinner brush. Should we just go with something synthetic? Maybe we'll just go with something synthetic. And I'll try to be as clean as I can. No, we'll try to get the right brush feel. The downside with this brush is that it has a certain limit to how thin it can go. Thick. This cat it's a pretty thick boy. That is true. He's a hefty cat. Or maybe I'll go with a thicker line style just for that more cartoony approach. Just because we only have about an hour left. Just gonna try to clean it up as much. And now that we're on cleanup stage, I am going to just stylize everything a little bit, maybe. So I'm gonna go for a more angular, sharper kind of approach in art style. More of that scratchy, sketchy approach. And because he's grumpy, it matches his personality. Because, you know, he's a grumpy person. Having more angular, sharper lines is gonna match his personality a bit more. Has a bit of a bat-like kind of ears in a way. Yeah. But draw the cat you drew but in 10 seconds. Oh man, 10 seconds. See, that's a good time limit restraint. But maybe another time. You know, if you guys enjoy this, maybe we could do the Samus one, because I know there were some people who really wanted the Samus version of this stream, but then it got outvoted. Actually, I took a look at it, and initially Samus was winning. It had like 57% or 50 something percent of the votes, and I was like, oh, okay. I'm gonna have to prepare for the Samus one, and then the cat one went out in the end. So maybe I shouldn't make it the same height as the nose. I don't want it to be like lined up or anything. Yeah. Drawing sketches in your dictionary? That sounds like a fun little detour. Okay, let me see. I'm just laughing at like the way this cat looks. It's got so much attitude. Maybe I should give him like a scar or something. Give it like a bit of like a backstory. Oops. I'm gonna have to give it some baggy eyes because, you know, it's getting old. The eyes are getting more saggy. How do we plan to fix the 3/4? It's a little bit of improvisation. Yeah. The lackadaisy. Well, you know, thank you for joining in, you know. The lackadaisy cats are also dope. I should really watch it. I just haven't had time to watch the episode that they uploaded. Okay. I feel like I might be a bit small on the left side, so I'm just gonna tweak it a bit. Okay, let me just gonna flip it. Oops, maybe flip the entire canvas. Yeah, it was looking pretty good. I think that looks pretty even. Like a Garfield. Hey, yeah, I was going for Garfield vibe. Yeah. I love your art. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I appreciate that. Okay. I think we're good with the head. I'm not gonna play around with it too much more or else we're gonna lose out on time, but I'm just gonna thicken up the outline just so that it's bold and it's easy to see. At least like stands out and whatnot. Okay, so I'm gonna work on this fur collar. Now this is the tricky part because fur, it's always like, how detailed do you go with it? Do you make it draw every single bit, or do you like oversimplify it? And because I've already drawn in a very geometric way, I think I'm gonna approach the collar in the same manner as like I did the fur. Very geometric, very hard edge, but I'm gonna follow the kind of aesthetic, I guess you say, that I had for the fur going on, so that it's still simplified. Draw more cats, please, in the future. I mean, you know, people like cats, so maybe it'll come back in a different topic. Yeah. He looks so done with it all. Yeah, that's the goal, making it look like he's just fed up with life, you know. Very sharp. Reminds me of the cats in Fairy Tale. Oh, you know, I haven't watched them in Fairy Tale in so long. Kind of thing. Maybe I'll give him like these really long kind of eyelashes. You know, if anything, if I can't quite clean up all the angles, at least we get one good drawing of the cat, you know. Okay. I want to differentiate the sleeves so it's not just one straight curve. So I'm just going to add these bumps to it to indicate like folds or ripples in it. This way it also breaks the whole symmetry vibe that the coat has. I don't want it to feel too symmetrical. So just going to break it up with these lines and shapes over here. So I guess you could say like this is my style. I don't know if that person is here anymore, but there's someone asked previously like how do I find like my style, and like the hard angular lines is kind of, I guess, how I like to personally approach things. Very jaggedy. Oh, that was you? Okay. Yeah, very jaggedy, very hard edge, and like this is kind of how I like to go about doing it. Now, like Jesse and Iggy and Vanessa, if you've ever watched their streams, we all draw very differently, and that's because we all like to focus on different things. I think for Iggy, he likes to focus more on like colors and that pastel-y light kind of look to it, whereas Jesse focuses a lot on, I guess you say, bold colors and very dynamic poses, and Vanessa is very like more like concept arty, very structural, and then for me, I'm like very angular, stylized kind of approaches to things. So yeah, you know, we all have different ways of doing things. So I'm gonna do that with the cuff too, like very angular, kind of. They kind of look a little bit like rocks, maybe. I don't know, maybe this is not the best way to do it, but trying to go figure out a way to approach the fur without having to draw every single strand of fur kind of there. Neon pastels, yeah, that's kind of like Iggy's thing, like neon pastels. Whereas for me, I personally don't go for pastel-y type of colors. I usually go for very high contrast, bold, kind of thick lines, I guess. Whereas Iggy's on the opposite. I don't know if you've seen our collab stream. We one time had a collab, and Iggy's more painterly, likes to paint it all out, and then I was drawing in a very thick lines, very angular and everything. But yeah, but that's the great thing about different styles. Like, you know, nobody draws exactly the same. Some people might have like similarities, but it's all different. You know, I don't think I'll have the string for him for the monocle. Maybe the monocle will just be something that just like clips, not clips, but you know, it just like attaches to the eye. There's no string. You know, if it falls down, it falls down. But he's so grumpy that it's probably kind of hard for it to fall out because he's always just frowning all the time. Okay. Let's see how much time we got. I think we got enough time to finish both of them. Should be good. Gonna maybe add these like pocks, these kind of notches in the fur to give it like that texture and whatnot. I thought that was a scarf. Oh, did you? I mean, yeah, I could. In the original one, I also wasn't sure. You know, I wasn't sure exactly what it was, but the fur looks cool. Oh, thank you. Yeah. Instructions tell a story. Yeah. Yeah, I also don't know how they have those monocles stick. Okay, so for the 3/4, I think that's the one where I need to figure out. So I'm actually going to skip that one and go to the profile one first and work out that one. Because I think this one looks really good too. I really like how he's looking on the profile view or the side view. I should have time to at least block it in. If I'm not able to block it in during stream, I'll definitely block it in afterwards so that there's some color and that it's filled in with some kind of solid lines and whatnot. Oh, actually, forgot that top hats are like that. I drew it wrong in the beginning. Yeah, I guess I'm going for more like a graphic novel, heavy lines kind of a vibe. Very nice. So do one of these. I should start with the structure and then do details once I have the figure figured out. Yeah. So that's at least how I like to go about it. Some people might have a different approach to it, but in the end, it's up to you. I would say that, like, for model sheets at least, it's all about structure. And if you're working with a team, the point of a model sheet is so that everybody is drawing consistently and they're all drawing a character that looks like it's the same character. Because everybody has a different art style, you'll run across problems where people are drawing it slightly differently, like the eyes might be shaped different, or the shape of, like, the line work's a bit off, you know, all those kind of small things that most of the times we don't think about, but until you start working with a team, it starts becoming apparent. It's like, oh, you know, we gotta figure this out, like, how are we gonna approach the fur, how are we gonna approach the line work, and all that kind of stuff. Let me see. Okay. I no longer have anything funny in mind. Yeah, take your time, yeah. Blocking and sketching out an idea is best to do instead of drawing anything frame by frame. Seen too many beginner artists try to draw everything frame by frame. Yeah. I mean, it just makes it harder for yourself, but it's not that you can't. I mean, if you really want to, you know, you can go ahead and draw every single frame by frame, but it'll definitely make it harder on you, and if you're working with a team, it'll make it harder for the team as well. So I would recommend just figuring it out first, planning stage. But I get that the planning stage is not always the most fun stage, so I can get why, like, a lot of people sometimes ignore it, but planning stage is an important stage. So I'll do the same thing with the hand that I did with the front view, which is try to make it not too perfect, because I like imperfections. I like it when things aren't completely, like, clean. I used to be very like, oh, I gotta make everything smooth, the line work and everything, it's gotta be, like, perfect. But then over time I was like, oh, you know what, actually it doesn't really, not that it doesn't matter, but it's like, oh, you know what, it's okay if it's a little rough. It adds personality to the piece and everything. So, or at least that's how I like to think about it. Oh. Structures carry across different styles. Yeah, like, you know, even for really cartoony stuff, there's structure kind of underlying it. So even stuff that looks very, very cartoony and simple, there's still a lot of structure actually going on behind the scenes that we don't know about, you know. And it also just makes the design of the character feel a little bit more fleshed out and such. So yeah, don't completely neglect structure, even if you're doing something cartoony. And I think that's the misconception, is that, like, oh, it's cartoony, it's easier, but it's like, not exactly, you know. Maybe it's a bit simpler, but there's a lot of thought that goes into it in order to make it work. So yeah, maybe I'll make the front part stick out a little bit more. Sir Scrumblebottom? What? What kind of name is that? Okay, so that's what we got. And I'm gonna add the thick lines and some of the other stuff. He looks like a rich lad who bought a kingly robe just to wear it after bath. That's a good way of describing it. He has both grumpy, chunky. What an amazing combo. Yeah, I mean, you know, it's the I was gonna say trifecta, but trifecta you need 3. But that's exactly what this combo is. Grumpy and pompous. Okay, just adding the outlines so that it's consistent in art style and everything. You have to learn anatomy if you want to change it around to your liking. That's true, yeah. Well, it depends if you're drawing like more human and realistic characters. But yeah, anatomy for sure helps understand like things that you can adjust and change, or at least it makes you better at it. So yeah, unfortunately, if you're like thinking, oh, I'm gonna go for a cartoony style because I don't have to worry about anatomy, I would say still try to learn anatomy. You know, it's always a good thing to try to see why things attach the way that they do, you know. Like, for example, like old school 2D animation, even though they're like really simple looking, like the rubber hose style, there's a lot of understanding of volumes and cylinders and prisms and spheres and how they rotate around 3-dimensionally in perspective. And because of that, that's why it looks so good when it's moving. It's because the artists and the animators know how it's moving in 3-dimensional space. I love how everybody has a different interpretation and backstory for this character. Some people are like, no, he's actually a nice guy deep down. Other people are like, he looks like the grumpiest, most entitled person out there. And then other people are just like, I like that he's chunky. I see chunky cat. I like chunky cat. That's all you need. Wait, not Car. Please understand, his name is Balfamore. Oh, are we going with that? Is that the agreed upon name? Okay, it's got half an hour left. He is a nice car. Oh my goodness, is Balfamore actually a transformer? He secretly can transform and rolls out. His head can. Anatomy is so hard to learn. Is there an easier way to make it make sense? Ooh. Anatomy. I would say start off with maybe just the silhouette. You know, start off with simply understanding the overall structure and silhouette of the character. So not necessarily the muscles or the bones, but start to observe how the character looks as a whole. And then once you do that a few times, like maybe for a few minutes as an exercise, and then you can do some like prism studies. That's like good too. And then prism helps you get better at like understanding the structure and volume of a character. Okay, it's looking pretty good. Now we're on to the hard one. The one that I would say that I kind of failed on, which is the 3/4 one. Ugh. What's his coat made of? I was gonna say something dark, but I don't know, like normal cat. I mean, not a cat. Normal coat material. I don't know, like what are coats made of back then? Like the skin. The coat is made out of cats? What? Oh my goodness. And God, he went from, yeah, he's an endearing character possibly to, whoa. Is some Cruella stuff, yeah. Does he have a mouse lackey, sir? Oh my goodness. A side character? Maybe, maybe. If we had more time, maybe I could put like a side character. I think what I need to add is like that side whisker fur that he has. I feel like it's this part. This part of the face, I didn't quite get it correct. So I'm trying to figure out like the dimension and the shape of that part of the face. I'm trying to look at the side profile. So what I'm doing now is like if I'm having trouble, like let's say I got the other angles correct, but I'm trying to figure out another angle that I didn't quite get. So in this case, it's the 3/4 one. I look at side view and see where this like brow kind of point is sticking out. And I'm also looking at roughly how I drew the details on the front version. And I try to combine the two and apply it to the 3/4 one. So just because I'm only drawing one angle at the moment, I'm not ignoring the previous angles. I'm using all angles to help figure out what the cat should look like. And also I just realized, you know what? Maybe I just need a reference of a cat. That's all I need. Cat. Okay, what does a cat look like? Not that I don't know what a cat looks like. I just want to see what a cat looks like in a 3/4 angle if Google will show me one. It will not show me one. They're all like front facing. What does a cat look like? I needs to know. Oh, it sticks out. Okay, okay. I think I got it. Stand on his shoulders. But it can't go through his coat. Okay, I'm gonna... I don't know, man. I don't know anymore in terms of like this 3/4. It's not looking exactly right. I might not try to... I might try not to get stuck on this too much, because I do want to at least try to figure it out and whatnot. Are you talking about like where the mice would go? Okay, forehead sticks out. You know, maybe I'll just have it still be like this. And the eye, I'm just gonna move maybe the eye a bit further out. Actually, let me see. How close is the mouth? Oh, the mouth is pretty close. Actually, pretty close. Let me... The tricky part actually is the mustache. So the funny thing is, when you draw something three-dimensionally, you think like, oh yeah, the mustache, it's this big, so it'll stick out like this far when you're drawing it. And then if you were to ever hand this off to a 3D modeler, they'll come back to you and be like, hey, yeah, actually it doesn't work. It doesn't go that far off into the face. Because that's three-dimensionally, that's just not how it works. But that's kind of where 2D animation gets a lot of shortcuts, where it's like you can kind of cheat it, whereas in 3D you can't, kind of a thing. So will he commit? Oh my goodness. Nah, you know what, look, well, you know what, we'll just state that he's actually a really nice cat. He's very friendly, he's just grumpy and whatnot. He is not doing any horrible crimes against the catdom, the cat society. He is not doing anything horrendous to the cat society. Let me see. Let's shift the eye over a little bit more. Okay. Yeah, I feel like this is better. Gotta give the bags. Oh, I forgot to add the little wrinkles. Wrinkles underneath this guy's eyes. He's got the little eyelash thingy. And the monocle, I'm gonna say that it's around here. And yeah, it's looking a lot better. I don't know if it's exactly correct, but I'm just gonna say that it looks pretty good. At least closer than it did beforehand. I feel like it's closer to how the character feels in the other angles. Yeah, he's so tired. Yeah, he is so sweet. Okay. Yeah. Anime side face? Yeah, maybe. Okay, yeah, I feel like that's a lot closer to what the other angles are looking like. Okay. Now I want to see... I'm thinking of like three-dimensionally if I would see this part of the coat, and I think I would, or at least I want to include it in part of the silhouette of this character. Let's see, we got 25 minutes. I think we can color this. Got some time to include the color. It should be good. Alfred was probably... Oh my goodness. It needs a bird? Ah, yeah, you know what? Like a little bird friend on the side. I actually kind of like that. I like that idea. I think the arm maybe a bit bigger? A bit wider, maybe? Honestly, this is like a good first go at it, I would say. I would probably still take some time to just figure it out completely in terms of like the angles and all that kind of stuff. But this is a good first jab, let's say, at the character and how it might look like three-dimensionally with everything around it. I still feel like the cuffs that I gave him they look like rocks. He's got rocks for cuffs, basically. And I think we made him, it looks like we made him quite chunkier, so I'm gonna expand the width a little bit more. Yeah, I feel like that's a little bit more in line with the other angles. Oh, like a little walking stick, maybe. Maybe I should have given him like a walking stick. Yeah, that would have matched his character as well a little bit. I feel like the way that I treated the fur is kind of like braids, like hair braiding, where they're very like zigzaggy, kind of like rocks, very Mike Mignola inspired. Oh yeah, somebody asked like what kind of art that I love. Like Mike Mignola is one, like that art style. I love that art style. Oops. Better back posture than me in the side. Yeah, he's got to look proper, you know? He's got to have that pompous, I'm better than you kind of look. And what better than to make it the back like completely straight, you know? He needs little kids just running around him. Oh, like little cat children? Oh, yeah. It's like kind of like that grumpy grandpa where it's like, Grandpa, give us candy. And he's like, oh, yeah, get away from me, kind of thing. Leave Grandpa alone. fancy feasts in bulk. Okay, let's see. Got almost 20 minutes. I'm gonna finish the outline for this, and then we're gonna block it in so then we can color it. And just a little kind of throwing this out there, but if anyone is not sure what they want to do over the summer, I am hosting a character design class workshop, kind of like an intensive program, where we do stuff like this. We do character rotations, character designs, because it is a character design kind of camp. So if anyone's interested, or they want to improve their character design skills, or just want to ask me more in-depth questions where I can actually have the time to answer them, I highly encourage checking out our character design summer camp intensive program. That way I can also give feedback on your work. So if you want me to check out your stuff and maybe, give you some critiques and some feedback on what you can improve on and what you can touch up, the workshops are a great way for me to actually get in personal and take a look at what stuff you can improve on and how you draw. Because this way, if it's just on live stream, I can only do so much in terms of like giving advice and feedback. But yeah. Is it digital or traditional? It's up to you. I will be doing it digitally because it's just easier presentation wise. It's clearer for the students to see. But you yourself, you can approach it however you want. So if you want to do it traditional, you can. If you want to do it digitally, you can as well. But yeah. How do you think Balfour is? I want to say he looks... Okay, human age wise, I'm gonna say like 60. I don't know. Does that seem like a proper age for Balfour? Does that match what he looks like? That's the vibe I'm getting. But yeah, I don't know. Okay, so we got our 3 characters down. I wasn't able to do the back, but you know what? The back would essentially just be taking the front, or how I like to do the back angle sometimes is just take the front version and erase everything and then just draw what the back would look like. Because the silhouette would essentially be exactly the same. It's just that the front detail is not there. It's the back detail. So pretty straightforward. So I'm not going to do any of that. I'm just going to go ahead and start coloring. And I'm going to block it in first. I'm going to use this. Maybe I like using yellow. It's like a good blocking in color. It means he's 6 years old? Do you have to be an experienced artist to join? No. You can join in at any skill level that you want. It might maybe help to know at least the basics, I guess. But I would be approaching it kind of like going through things like anatomy and structure and how to draw faces. So it's still pretty basic, but I would say maybe not super beginner. It's kind of, I guess it's on the intermediate side, but you don't have to be like super experienced. You don't have to be the best artist there is, I guess. Yeah. It just fits for me. A black color theme? Well, I was thinking about sticking with the color theme that I had in the original drawing. Like the green coat, like an olive colored coat with the yellow fur. The hat is probably still going to be like black or something, but yeah. I mean, this yellow is just to block it in so then I can just use lock transparency and quickly color it in. I'm not actually leaving him like just all this yellow ochre kind of color. That'd be a bit strange. What does blocking in mean? So yeah, for me, before I color anything in, I like to block it in. So I guess you'll see in a minute. But basically, it just lets me fill in the main shape. So if I take away the line work, it kind of is like if I outlined the entire shape or just colored in the silhouette of the character. And then this way I can lock transparency, as you can see with my cursor. I think you can see it on the layers. There's this lock button on Sketchbook. If I click this, I can now color inside of this shape without having to worry about coloring outside the lines. So it just makes it easier. It's like saves time and everything. And this works on other drawing programs as well. So lock transparency is also there for Clip Studio, Photoshop, whatever drawing program you're using. Most will have lock transparency. It looks like a lock, but with like a checkered pattern inside of the lock. But I would say that lock transparency is good for maybe like a quick go at it, because I think clipping layer is better, or masking layer is better, because you get to do it on a completely separate layer and you can erase it if you make a mistake, whereas with lock transparency, it's all done on the same layer. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, no worries. I do feel like we made a video on this, or maybe Iggy did a stream about locking transparency and clipping layers like a while ago, like early in the year. So yeah, lock transparency. Yeah, it's called lock transparency. It basically just means on this layer you can only color within what is colored. Blocking is also good for just painting and sketching in general. So when you block something in, you're not worrying about the details, but instead you're thinking about the overall colors and tones. So if it's, let's say it's grayscale shading, blocking in is taking a look at where all the shadows are and only shading where the shadows are and blending them all together. So you're not worrying about like, oh, this is really dark and this is kind of dark and this is not super dark. You would treat it all as one shadow and block it in. So that's kind of why it's called blocking it in. You're treating it as one giant massive shape and simplifying it, because that's kind of the key with painting or drawing in general, is to simplify as whenever you can. Whenever you have the opportunity to simplify, it makes life easier, and it also allows for less mistakes because it's easier to change it afterwards. I can't listen. No worries. I just like making my background a darker gray so I can't see better. Yeah, that works too. I can hear you now. Oh, great. Hey. Who is becoming... Is someone becoming a graphic designer? Okay, so now that I've blocked it in, after that whole spiel about blocking in and lock transparency, you get to see it in action. So I've essentially filled in the drawing. I'm not worrying about the details or like where everything is perfectly. I'm essentially just filling inside of the lines, and then I'm gonna click on this lock button on my layers so it locks it, and now I'm gonna color in the coat. So I think I'm gonna stick with this green color for now, because I don't know, I personally like it. It might be a bit too dark, or I don't know. Well, we'll see how it goes. We also only got like 13 minutes left, so just trying to, personally, I'm just trying to color it in as quickly as possible. And I'm also going to color it in kind of in a rough, scratchy way. So you can see I'm using again that pen from before, the brush that I used to draw the character. So this way there's a little bit of texture and imperfection in my coloring. And that's also something that I like. I tend to color in a more graphic shape blocking kind of way with very sharp, I guess, block-ins of colors instead of having any kind of blending or anything. I like to have texture. But as you can see, I can't color outside of the shape. So that's why I like using block transparency or clipping mask, because then I can just color without having to worry about coloring outside the lines. How do you draw 3/4 head? That is a very good and in-depth question. I would say start maybe learning how to draw a front view head first, and I would say try to understand where the center line is. So for 3/4, what's important about 3/4 is looking at where the center line is, because that's where the nose attaches and that's where the center of your mouth goes. And then the eyes also kind of follow along that too. So it's kind of hard to get a good grasp of it if you don't understand front view. So I would say get a good grasp as to the front view first, and then try to figure out 3/4. And let's see. When you do muzzles or nose, do you do a line above to show that it's pointing out like a cat, or do you use shading? Oh, I think in this case, because I'm treating it kind of like it's 2D animated, I'm not going to use shadow. At least I don't think I will for now. I feel like I kind of like a lighter color. Yeah, I'm gonna go with a lighter color. But yeah, I think I'm just gonna use the line work, or just the placement of the nose to indicate that it's sticking out. So you can see here, because it's past the nose, like here on the 3/4 one, because it's past the nose is past the eyes, it gives it a sense that it is sticking out. So I'm relying on the placement of the facial features to help indicate where things are. Hat's gonna be like a dark blue, blackish kind of a color. And let's see, I'll probably work on this a little bit after the stream so I can add a bit of shading. Actually, I wanted purple. I wanted purple for his hat. Maybe like there. I don't even know if you'd be able to tell. Oh, you can tell. Okay, yeah. Gotta get that green and purple combination. Is it a step closer to your full drawing potential? Oh, that's great then. I'm happy to hear that it's like helping you out. You technically have infinite potential in drawing. That is true. There's always something to learn. You know, there's never too much. Because, you know, if in the end you get good at drawing, it's like, okay, time to start painting. And then it's like, okay, I'm going to learn oil painting. And then once you get good at oil painting, it's like, okay, time to master watercolor. And then if you master watercolor and you're like, okay, I'm done with painting, let's try charcoal drawing or pastel drawing. And it's like a whole nother ball game. You know, ball game, whatever it's called. And then once that's done, you can like maybe dabble in 3D or 3D modeling and sculpting. So yeah, you know, like there's always so much that you could learn. Honestly, it's just like, do you have the time to learn all these things? Because even just mastering one can already take kind of like a lifetime. But that doesn't mean you can't learn all those different skill sets. But yeah, but don't have time. Yeah, you're answered so many of my quiz that I can really ask anyone else because they don't do art. Oh, that's happy to hear that. Glad to hear that it's you're able to ask all these questions. And I love answering the questions, so you know, keep them coming. Yeah, I'll answer as many questions as I can while we're still here. And the fur over here is brown. Yeah, I'm just gonna try to just block it in, and then I'll do like shading maybe off stream, because I think we are coming close to the end. And once I'm done doing like the shading and maybe clean up of the color, I'll post this on Discord, so you can check us out on Discord if you don't follow us there. But that's where we post a lot of things, a lot of our drawings, a lot of kind of behind the scenes stuff as well sometimes. So if you haven't checked us out on social media, we are on there, and we do repost a lot of the drawings that we do on stream and all that kind of stuff. So be sure to follow us there. Let me see. Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna want to thank you as art block. Oh, that's great. Yeah. Art block can be tough. We all struggle with art blocks. And everybody has different types of art blocks. Like for me, art blocks sometimes is just technical art blocks. So I find that if I just do studies, it helps, because then I learn something from the studies, like whether it's colors and paintings, or if it's just like understanding the structure of the face by doing portrait studies. Doing like studies, like technical drawings, helps with my art blocks. But I know that some people is like creative art blocks, and everybody has like a different approach to solving their own art blocks. But it's great that, like, you know, watching our channel has helped you with your art blocks. Hopefully we're able to provide some like inspiration for you guys. So we got like 5 more minutes. Yeah, no worries. Yeah. And, you know, if you ever miss one of our streams, it's always recorded, and we upload it to our channels anyways, so there's never have to worry if you end up missing it or anything. So yeah, we always try to make it as accessible as possible, because we know that art sometimes isn't the most affordable skill or hobby to learn, I guess. Can be very expensive, especially for like university or college and whatnot. So, and everybody's situation is a bit different, so making it accessible is always something that we try to do. Okay, kind of went for like a sticker vibe. I think for the hat I might lighten it up just a little bit so that I can make the line work darker. Maybe that's too light. Somewhere, yeah, I feel like that's good. Just like a lighter color for the hat, so then I can make the line work darker, so then you can see it better. Okay, let's see the line work. Gonna lock that, and then I'm just gonna make a really big brush. So now with my line work, I lock the transparency. I'm gonna pick a really dark color, and because my brush is really big, all I have to do is just color over the lines, and voila. I don't have to put too much effort into it, and I immediately change it to a darker kind of line work. Maybe that's too dark. Lighten it up just a little bit, and maybe make it a bit more saturated. Boredom cure. No, that's fine. You could, well, I mean, I'm trying to finish up, so I haven't had the chance to look at chat, but, you know, it's, as long as you stay respectful of each other, you can, you know, say what you will on chat. Okay, we got 2 more minutes. Oh my goodness. Okay, so I think this is what we have, what I have so far, and after stream, I'm just gonna add some shadow to it, and that way it makes it pop a little bit more. But this is essentially it. I'm gonna maybe space them out just like a little bit, maybe not space it out. I'm just gonna shift them over a little bit. Shift it over so you can see the reference, so that when we post it, you can kind of see where it came from. And then I'll also add the guidelines so you can see the guidelines and everything. Just make it bigger. There we go. Nice and clean. And I'm just gonna shift these guys over because, well, because the 3/4 one is like not exactly aligned, so I'm just gonna shift everything over just like a little bit. Okay, nice. Yeah, having glass just typing the most stuff. Yeah, we have a new art challenge. Oh yeah, we also have art challenges. Yeah, that's a good point. So keep an eye out for that. You can post it, and then maybe if I think if it gets chosen, we spotlight it. I think I might be wrong. Don't take my word for it. Art isn't expensive itself, but pursuing art can be. Yeah, it also depends on what you go for. So, you know, if you want to paint, buying paint can be quite expensive. And then if you want to draw digitally, sometimes getting the software can be expensive. So, where are his things in his head? What? What are you talking about? He's got his hat. His markings? The spots? Oh, those things. I mean, he's got the eyebrows. Maybe the spots I'll add later, like the stripes. Yeah, maybe I might add that later. But it's like a little bit different, so you know, it's okay. But it is 6 o'clock, so it is the end of our stream. So thank you everyone for joining us. And again, I just like to close off by just letting everybody know that we are not just a YouTube channel, we are an art school as well. So if you want to improve your art skills, we do have virtual classes like drawing and painting, animation, cartooning, and digital art. So if any of those sound interesting to you, feel free to check us out, and maybe you'll want to sign up for one of our classes, and maybe I'll get to see you guys again. And if you enjoyed this video, like and subscribe. This way you get notified as whenever we go online for streams, and this way you can also vote for the next prompts. So a lot of you guys voted for this cat character, and that's a good way of keeping on top of that is by subscribing. And if you want to support us and you enjoy our stream, feel free to support us on Patreon. We greatly support anything that any support that you're able to give us, either by watching our streams, giving us a like, or even supporting us monetarily. So we greatly appreciate any kind of support. And if you do support us on Patreon, there are a lot of perks, just like emote badges, members only chat and critiques, and behind the scenes stuff. So maybe check us out on Patreon, because you'll get some benefits from those. And we are on social media, so we are on Discord, Facebook, and Instagram, and we will be posting the drawing that I did here on stream on Discord and Instagram. So if you want to see what it looks like in high res, those are the places that we'll be posting it. So yeah, and that's kind of it. But again, thank you everyone for joining us on stream. You guys were a great chat, great audience. Thank you for being so respectful and accompanying me as I was trying to design and draw this cat character. So yeah, cool. And I will see you all next time. Okay, everyone have a good weekend. Bye bye. You want more cats? maybe in the future. Thank you. Bye bye. Adios.